Welcome back to the Conveyance Desk. In episode 7, we covered the seller side, what sellers need to prepare, and how to stay ready. Today is episode 8, and this one is about overseas parties, buyers or sellers who are not in the UAE during the transfer, what that requires, and the role of power of attorney in those cases. Quick reminder, this is general educational content, not legal advice. Every transfer has variables, developer rules, financing terms, authority requirements, so use this as a guide, then validate your own case. Here is the framing. A property transfer in Dubai requires the parties to sign in person at the trustee. There is no third option, no remote signing, no video witnessing, no electronic substitute for presence at the trustee on transfer day, or to be represented by a properly constituted power of attorney. So if a party cannot attend, the only legitimate route is a power of attorney. Why this matters more than people expect. Most buyers and sellers think a power of attorney is a quick document. Sign something, send it over, done. And that is not how it works for property transactions in the UAE. A property transaction power of attorney must be notarized, often legalized in the country of origin, attested through the relevant chain, translated to Arabic, authenticated at the UAE level, and specifically worded to grant the powers required. Each step has a timeline, and the chain only works if every step is completed in order. Skip a step, and the document is not valid. Skip a step, and the transfer cannot proceed. There is no shortcut for an incomplete chain. 2. The two main scenarios. Scenario 1. The party is in the UAE but unable to attend on transfer day. A standard UAE notary public POA is sufficient. This is the simpler case. The notary registers the document, the attorney holds the original, and the trustee accepts it. Scenario 2. The party is outside the UAE. The POA must originate in the country where the party is located, and then be brought through the legalization and attestation chain to be valid in the UAE. This is the longer case. The two scenarios look similar from a distance. They are very different in practice. The first takes a day. The second takes weeks. 3. The legalization chain for overseas POAs. When a POA is issued outside the UAE, the chain typically involves a notary in the country of origin, the relevant government department in that country, usually the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the UAE embassy or consulate in that country, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the UAE. After all of this, the document goes to a legal translator, then to a notary for stamping or registration if required. Some countries have shorter chains via the apostille convention. The UAE accepts apostille for many countries now, but not all, and the practical experience varies by document type. So the chain depends on the country, and the country dictates the timeline. A POA from a major European capital can move in a week. A POA from a country with limited UAE consular presence can take a month or more. 4 common failure modes. There are a few failure modes that come up often. The POA is too generic. It says to handle property matters, but does not specify the property, the transaction type, or the specific powers required. DLD and trustees expect specificity. Generic language is rejected. The VPO is too narrow. It names a specific buyer or property that has since changed. A new POA is required. The chain is incomplete. The document was notarized but not legalized, or legalized but not embassy attested. The document is not accepted. The translation is wrong. A small translation error in the powers granted invalidates the document for the specific transaction. The POA has expired, and some POAs have a stated validity period. Some are deemed expired after a certain time, even without a stated date. Each of these creates a fix-it loop, and the fix-it loop is often a full redo, which means another full chain, which means another timeline reset. 5. The wording matters more than people expect. This is the part most people underestimate. Explicitly grant the powers needed. That includes powers like sign the sale and purchase agreement, pay and receive funds, sign at the trustee, receive the title deed, handle developer NOC matters, handle mortgage discharge if applicable, open and close utility accounts where relevant. If a power is missing, the trustee will refuse to proceed, even if every other step was correct. So generic POAs do not work for property transactions. Specific wording is required. This is where having someone draft the POA in advance matters. A PO drafted by someone who has done property transactions in the UAE is a different document than a POA drafted by a foreign lawyer who is guessing. 6. Timing and sequencing. The biggest mistake we see is starting the POA process too late. A POA chain from a major European country might take 2 weeks if everything goes smoothly. A chain from a more distant or lower traffic UAE consulate might take 4 weeks or more. So the POA should be initiated as soon as the buyer or seller knows they will not be present. Not after the trustee is booked, not after the bank is ready. Earlier than that. The PO should be ready before it is needed, not the other way around. The cost of starting early is small. The cost of starting late is the entire transfer slipping. 7. The role of a properly drafted POA. A well-drafted property POA is a small investment that prevents large delays. It names the principal and the attorney clearly. It specifies the property where possible. It grants the specific powers required. It is translated correctly. It is attested through the right chain. And it is held by the attorney with the regionals available at the trustee. The cost of getting this right is small. The cost of getting it wrong is the entire transfer slipping by weeks. A POA is not a formality. It is the legal substitute for the principal's presence. Treat it with the same seriousness you would treat your own attendance. 8. Closing. Overseas parties are common in Dubai property transactions. The market is international. Owners and buyers are spread across many countries. But the documentation requirements are not flexible. Either the party attends, or the POA is correctly constituted. There is no middle ground. So treat the POA process as a critical path item. Start early, get the wording right, and complete the legalization chain before it becomes a blocker. In the next episode, we will cover joint ownership, multiple buyers, multiple sellers, and how that changes the process. That's all for today. This was the Conveyance Desk.